Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Jacob? Here.
Okay.
Harry? Here. Reed?
Here.
Shire?
Here.
Here we go.
Here. It is not on our agenda, but I saw someone, you want to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any changes to the agenda? We will go into public comment. If you have comment for council, you're welcome to come to the podium, state your name, and you have a 3-minute time limit.
I'll let you know when you have 30 seconds left.
Sure.
Okay?
No, I can be loud. Okay. My name is Nicholas Johnston. Been a resident of Streator ever since I was born, 45 years ago. This is concerning the non-highway vehicle use, right? I brought this up to this council probably over 10 years ago. And just to summarize, since then, you guys will probably recognize some of these towns: Peoria Heights, Effingham, Chillicothe, Benton, Centralia, Pontiac, Mendota, Princeton, El Paso, Winthrop Harbor, Winona. I could go on. These are towns similar, somewhat bigger, some are smaller than Streator. Have all legalized them at this point. Okay? Different capacities, different licensing fees, etc. They were forward-thinking towns. This council, half said yes, half said no. It eventually went to Mayor Lansford. Mayor Lansford says, and I quote, "I just don't think there's enough interest." Clearly he was wrong then, he's obviously wrong now. This is a forward-thinking movement. There's obviously a necessity to it for some people, justification. Now, I spoke with the police chief then, I spoke with him since then, I've spoke with many others since then. He didn't have data to provide facts to refute it. Anybody who said no, it was all their opinion. Now, I've done my research, and anybody who knows me, I bring receipts to every argument that I get in, right? I can show you accident statistics, noise statistics, all of that. If you're gonna argue against those in any way, shape, or form outside of data, you're in the wrong. That's all I'm gonna say, all right? So whether or not you believe in it, or you're gonna take part in it, or whatever, should be irrelevant. It should all be based on the data. The other thing I would say, half of these towns that I know of, their population is increasing due to that. So a specific example I have of that is Effingham. They're a population of about 13,000 people now. On a daily basis, they reach up to about 20,000 because of commuters. Their population is growing 1 or 2% a year since they started allowing it. There's a reason. It's not just a recreational vehicle. Sure, it's used for that, right? But between farming, utility, our own public works use them. Every manufacturing company in this town has them. All your municipalities use them. There's utility. I use it to move things around my yard. There's much more to this than, hey, there's people riding around town at 60 miles an hour at 2 o'clock in the morning. Sure, it does happen. But I could say the same thing about muscle cars in town. I've laid in bed and heard Harleys rip by my house louder than anything that I've ever owned. So once again, the only thing I'm gonna say, whatever way you decide on this, don't do it on your opinion, do it on the statistics and the data. Thank you.
And I say, I think I'm the only one left from last time this came up. So I remember you being here. Any other public comment for tonight?
I'll let you know when you have 30 seconds.
Hi, my name is. Can you hear it now?
Come on, Derek.
Derek Eaton. I just also kind of wanted to touch the issue with the non-highway vehicles as well. I feel like there's a lot of people, a lot of feedback in the community who don't believe that, that this should move forward. They see the accidents happen, they see people tearing up other people's yards, riding on public property. The way I see that is there's always going to be people that don't uphold the law, there's always gonna be people that don't follow rules put in place. I do feel like those of us who do follow rules, those of us who do, you know, work within the constraints of the law and rules should be given a chance to represent ourselves. There's obviously rules put in place in other towns about streets that can be used by these types of vehicles. There's, you know, revenue from the city that can be made. I mean, there's a lot of people that would, you know, 200, 500, 100, it doesn't matter what we set that price at, they would pay that to be able to exercise that right. Just as making their machine DOT capable, but the appropriate lighting, signaling, all that kind of stuff. So, and me, I'm in technical publications, I'm on several safety committees. I would be more than happy to sit in a meeting or on a committee to help establish rules for this kind of thing. I would donate my time to come up with publications for it, so I'm just stating my advocacy for it. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further public comment?
I'll let you know when you have 30 seconds.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everybody. As a lifelong resident homeowner in the city of Streator, I'm here today to state my opposition to allowing the use of any golf carts, four-wheelers, skaters, or any other vehicle that is considered a lifestyle leisure vehicle. My rationale for the opposition is safety. It is my feeling that by allowing these leisure vehicles on our streets, I had to run over here. It would adversely affect the daily interactions between them and the regular legal automobiles, legal trucks, legal motorcycles that folks use to go to work, go to school, go to doctor's appointments, shopping, visiting family, friends, etc. I have deep safety concerns for our new, young, inexperienced drivers, as well as elderly drivers, as they might try to navigate around these leisure vehicles. My next point is that the city of Streator does not have the resources to accurately manage and control the addition of leisure vehicles in our streets. This is evidenced by the facts. The many accidents and deaths that have been caused by the influx of illegal motorized vehicles on the streets within the city limits, and you know the ones I'm talking about. The loud, noisy, polluting, gas-powered mini bikes, bicycles, and other two-wheeled, four-wheeled illegal vehicles that do not follow the laws and tear up the terrain as they go. I see them, I worship, I hear them. All hours of the day and night, all over town. They're all over town. Greenway, Rural Park, Shabana Street neighborhoods. I was jamming at the clock, one rode right through the middle, jamming at the clock. Pretty much anywhere with no regard to traffic signs. And those who do not live in an area of town to hear them, there is the north side Route 23 Raceway. For those who aren't familiar, the raceway might start at 10 p.m. and goes to about 3 or 4 a.m. on any given night, spring through summer into fall. And I mention this because, again, of our resources. Because we have an honorable police force.
It's 30 seconds left.
And the state highway is free for all. So anyway, therefore, when I find that leisurely people want to drive their leisurely golf carts on our streets to visit their friends, I surmise additional problems and further degradation to any resident's quality of life. Has anyone here ever been to a private campground where golf carts are hiving around like a bunch of bees? The drivers do expect you to get out of their way. It needs permits, stickers. Who's gonna take care of all that additional personnel? Thank you very much.
Pardon?
Anyone else for public comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll turn it over to Gary Bird.
So good evening. I got a few accommodations to give out from the fire department tonight. And I asked Captain Park to come up and help me pass out a couple. And the first person I'd like to call to the front is firefighter Billy Missile. So firefighter Missile, while off duty on 2 separate occasions, provided CPR to a citizen suffering from cardiac arrest until EMS arrived. Due to his quick actions, both individuals walked out of the hospital a few days later. On behalf of the city of Streator and the fire department, I'd like to present firefighter Missile with the life safety. All right, the next person I'd like to call up is telecommunicator Kylie Tilly. I'm sorry. Kylie is the telecommunicator for our dispatch agency, VCOM. On November 1st of 25, Kylie coached a pregnant female who called 911 through a successful delivery of a child prior to the arrival of EMS. Kaylee's calm professionalism and this situation led to a successful outcome of the emergency. So on behalf of the city of Streator and the fire department, I would like to present telecommunicator Kylie Tilly with a PV delivery commendation bar and a fire department challenge book. All right, for the last commendation I have, I would like to ask Christian and Lindsay Paul to come forward to present the medals. They were the residents of the structure that I'm going to talk about. So on the morning of January 7th of 25, the fire department was dispatched to 43 Stanton Place for a structure fire with people trapped. Just prior to the fire department's arrival, additional information was provided that victims were on the second floor of the home. On arrival, crews found a large amount of smoke and fire visible from the first floor, and crews began placing ladders to the second floor to provide a rescue operation known as vent and search. The residents were quickly located and assisted down a ladder from the second floor. At the same time, the remaining crew members began the attack of the fire on the first floor. I would like Mr. and Mrs. Paul to present the accommodations for the performance of their duties. Captain Fred McKellar. Captain Brian Park. Firefighter Billy Missile. Lieutenant Jeff Arundel. Lieutenant Ed Levy. I have one more, but not present tonight, is Captain Tim Reck. He was unable to make it tonight. That's all I have, so I'd like to thank Mayor and Council for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, great work. And I know some of you are gonna exit, so we're gonna give you a few minutes to, unless you wanna stay, you're welcome to. And if you're gonna stay, check out the fire department's annual report. Excellent. Chief Franklin?
Oh, ready?
Well, so we will move on while they're, so that everybody's cleared. So we'll go on to action items. So item 1 is resolution 2025-03, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2025 Ford Bronco for the City of Streator Police Department from Star Ford, Streator, Illinois. Can I get a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
I'll go with Councilman Shire with the motion and Councilman Reed with the second. We'll go into session.
You gotta help me out here.
All right, now it's working.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. This is a resolution to replace our community service vehicle, which you all know is used by Kathy. It's been in service for a long time. It has very close to 200,000 miles. It's pretty beat up. We probably should have got rid of it sometime last year, but we're making amends to get that now. I believe it's budgeted for $30,000, and we'll be hopefully purchasing this vehicle for a little over $25,000 and change. It's a used 2025 Ford Bronco Sport, and it will get the job done and burn less gas, and hopefully this 4-cylinder engine might be much more fuel efficient for what she does. She mainly transports some of our paperwork down to Ottawa, and she also, as you know, when some of you get locked out of your vehicles, she will come out and free your vehicle so that you can get in them and drive away. She also leads parades, a few parades we have here, the Christmas tree lighting, the homecoming parade, and other things we have when we need somebody to help out with that. Kathy's always been a stellar employee here and really fills a lot of holes in our department for community service and community outreach, and her vehicle's just about had it, so we definitely need a replacement vehicle. You want to move on to number 2, resolution, ma'am?
Yeah, we'll vote.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and we'll vote for 1 and then we'll go into 2.
I don't want to rush it.
No, we're good. Any comments, questions, or discussion?
This was budgeted.
And this was in the budget for this year.
It is.
Okay. I know she does a lot of running that keeps our officers on the street, and we appreciate that, so. Okay, any further comment, question? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Danko?
Aye.
Geary?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Shire?
Aye.
Mayor Beat.
Aye. Item 2, Resolution 2026-04, a resolution authorizing approval of a proposal for the purchase of 11 GTEC S410 G4 Toughbook CF31 laptops and 9 docking stations for the Streator Police Department. Can I get a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Danko with the motion and Gary with the second. And go ahead.
Okay, good evening, folks. Once again, this is to replace some aging equipment. As you all know, it's the downside of policing. We rely a lot on technology, but after a while, that technology gets old and gets obsolete. And with our laptops, after a while, they cannot accept further upgrades, and they just become basically electronic junk. And that's what's happened to our Panasonic laptops. So we've got to purchase some new ones, and these GetTags are pretty good. Hopefully they should hold up for at least 4 to 5 years. And this also is in budget.
And this was mostly due to the discontinuation of Windows 11.
Yes,
And so
yes.
we wouldn't be able to do patches or support those anymore.
When Windows decides not to support a program, basically the laptops we have that use those programs are basically useless. I think this is like the second time since I've been here 3 years as your chief that we've had to replace laptops now. First time we bought used laptops, and then those became obsolete as well.
Any further comment or question? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Danko.
Aye.
Gary.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Shire.
Aye.
Fairby.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Even though this is not citizen address, I also want to give a special shout out to Miss Vicki Wilkie, who has a women's church group. She put together some hygiene packages that we now have in our station, which we will hand out to some of our homeless, what they call now unhoused persons. Many of our sex offenders that have to come in and register don't have homes either, so we'll be handing out these hygiene packets that include deodorant, socks, underwear, wipes. For the women's packages have feminine products. It's a good thing that they did this, and it's nice to be able to do some more community outreach with our residents. So I just want to give a real sincere shout out to Ms. Wilkie and her church group on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go into our discussion items. So discussion 1 and 2 will be back to Chief Byrd for the fire department.
So during the budget process last fall, we discussed the purchase of a new ambulance. And to acquire a new ambulance is 2 to 3 years currently to have it built before you receive it. What I'm looking for tonight is just a consensus to allow the fire department to put together a spec for an ambulance, put it out to bid with the option of when the bids come back, we can go ahead and sign the contract for the approval, and payment would not be due until it's delivered. So in the future, much like we did the fire truck. So that's what I'm looking for tonight, is just a consensus. We're probably looking in a ballpark between $250,000 to $350,000 for that ambulance. Again, like the fire truck, we'll keep it down to the bare minimum. We won't have all the fancy stuff on it like some places have, and basically just be a workhorse like they are.
Yeah, actually, one of the ambulances in 2014.
Yes, that's the one.
So 3 years from now, it'll be 16 years old.
Yeah, that's the one we bought from Ottawa, used to get started. And unfortunately, that's probably one of our better units. The 2 newer ones that we bought, because of our time constraints, they were the only ones that we could find. They were remounts. While the chassis are brand new, the boxes were redone. So the boxes are more somewhat on those rigs. So it was part of the planning process that we talked about at the beginning when we started EMS, that hopefully we could just replace an ambulance every 5 years, and that's kind of what we'd like to do if you approve us to go out to bid.
And I think we had talked about planning when we have some bonds coming off in 2027, replacing that payment possibly with the fire truck and an ambulance and maybe some public works equipment, like a street sweeper. So that's part of our long-term financial planning, so.
So am I okay with
Consensus
this?
to move forward?
Yeah.
Get some
Yeah, please.
proposals?
Very good.
Bring us the proposals.
Thanks, Chief.
And then do you want to go to item 2 for the ambulance fees?
Yes. So ever since we started the ambulance service in 22, I believe, every year I look at what our neighbors are charging for ambulance transports. So this year I looked and we are a little behind. So currently we charge $1,500 for an ALS transport, advanced life support, and basic life support transport is $1,200. In the comparison, I found that pretty much everybody around us is now charging $1,600 for an ALS transport and $1,300 for a BLS transport. So I'm not sure if it has to be in an ordinance or not. So next week I could come back and we'll have it up for your vote to, if you approve raising the rates for our transport fees.
Please do.
We have not done that yet in the first 3 years, so.
Yes.
Bring it in line.
Very good. And just a side note, annually, I also check the prices on consumable supplies that we use, and we do charge for those. But by ordinance, I'm allowed to update those prices as the prices change. So we're recouping a lot of our money for the expendable items. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, Item 3 is our rental program update. 3 and 4 will be code enforcement. So those are, we've done this February the last couple of years. So I'll turn it over to Jeremy to get us started.
Yeah, so thank you, Mayor and Council. So yeah, like the Mayor said, we've been looking at this since we started the program back in 2019. So the rental program, the highlights are kind of there at the top of what we focused on last year in 25. So basically in 25 to the start of end of 24, we completed mailings to all the rental units. So it took us about 4 years to get through everybody to get mailings out and try to get responses back. So that was completed. We're now in the process of re-registering people. So after we had some wins on the legal side to demolish some properties, get some compliance, we started re-registering their initial people and doing re-inspections. So the program for some of the new members, you can either get a 6-month, 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year registration based on the condition of the unit when it's inspected. So we were withholding all those second inspections until we've been through everybody, and we're now through that phase, so we're starting to re-register some units. Worked last year, there was 3 demos, the 525 Montgomery, 511 South Vermillion, and 1011 Riverside. One of the big things was 206 Cedar. It took us a couple of years to get through that one, but we finally got that done. So that one was good. It was a remnant property that was in need of demolition. We have an ongoing one with 1008 North Bloomington. If you've been up on North Bloomington Street, we started the demolition process, and then Wells Fargo Bank got involved, and it slowed us down a little bit. I was just there. Wells Fargo now has a property manager involved, had a structural engineer there, so we'll wait and see what they come back with, but hopefully Wells Fargo may take care of that one, but we'll see. But prior to that, it had been a rental unit. We've also started something new. This is, I think, the second year we've done it, but we acquired properties for $800 and change from the county trustee for properties we had rental issues with that were in need of demolition. So we acquired 2 of those. We have a third that's still pending, potentially from last November's auction, but we got those 2 properties. And then again, we continued as new rentals came in. It's an ever-changing process. People move, sell, so it's one of the big things that's continuing is our BSNA software, which we acquired a couple years ago for accounting and code enforcement. Is really starting to be able to track rentals better in there. So we can it's a click box inside the software that says rental or non-rental, and so it makes it easier when sewer billing's involved. When they get a change of ownership to switch over sewer billing, we're looking at that, and they can change that and kind of keep that up to date. So it's going to be an ongoing. Forever and ever, as long as the program's around, you're going to constantly be changing and updating things. But our numbers compared to the census numbers, last time the census numbers came out was 23. I checked again, but we have roughly 1,400 rental units in town. So that jives with the Census Bureau, so that's kind of the numbers we've come back with too, and we'll just keep updating the list and continuing on. So, are there any questions?
The one property that has ongoing legal action is the one at 1008.
Yeah, North Bloomington. We had started a fast-track demolition process, and because of the nature of it, and Cheryl's office, Lily McKay up there is working on that one, so.
I was just being certain that was the only one.
That's the one we have,
Yeah,
current.
Very good.
I see that 33% are repeat offenders.
Oh, you're skipping ahead.
You're going to that next.
Oh, is
Okay,
it?
I'll wait. I'll wait. I thought you were done.
I am. So we can, yeah.
No, we have started some of the round two this past.
Yes, so we re-inspected and issued repeat registrations for the rental side.
I know we had held off a couple years just to make sure we got through all.
We've at least mailed it, and we still have some non-compliance, but we're working with Cheryl's office, continue on, so.
I don't know if anything. 2 years ago, I think the House had a bill restricting some of this and the crime-free nuisance and then our ordinances and limiting some of that power. And then I believe the Senate had one last year and neither one of them made it past, which is good. But we'll just, like I said, we'll continue to monitor that through the municipal league, and if any of them come up, again, we'll send another letter out with some examples of properties that we've had issues that have been rentals and 100 plus police calls and those types of things. I have good examples ready to go. So, okay. Any questions on the rental inspection program? All right, we'll go to code enforcement.
I'm gonna go to, I'll start with the number of repeat cases in 2025. So the number was kind of holding consistent around 50%. We did see a drop to 33% this year, which is a positive sign. But we also, the number of, that's within year. So basically that we would issue a notice in January, say in March, when grass starts growing, they would get compliance either through a ticket or through compliance, and then in September, they do it again. So that's what that 33% is that you get 2 warnings or tickets in the same year. The 2 lines down from that is number of repeat cases year to year, still holds at about 58%. Last year it was 56, so we're still kind of in the mid-50s there. The 58% of the cases in 2025 had similar cases in 2024. So we're still seeing that 50% of code enforcement cases are people that do it every year, or the property. So that's still a stubborn number. It's not unique to Streator. That's just code enforcement in general, but that's the number that we try to drive down. Overall, we only had 2 code enforcement officers this year, Joe Scarberry and George Cassation, working on them. In 2024, we had a 3rd part-time officer, so that's why the case numbers, total number of cases numbers went down. Joe and George each kind of held up their end and did the same or more than they had in the previous years. But because of that reduced officer, we did have, it kind of played out in less cases and less, fewer tickets written as well. But I think on par, we were attacking the same properties, and that 33% is a good sign that the guys were doing what they needed to do, because we weren't seeing those repeat cases year in year. We had 2 administrative cleanups where working with George, a lot of those are George removing vehicles and debris off of properties. So short of demolition, we can go in and actually clean up a property, and I think we'll have a few more in 2026. George and Joe have already been out kind of scouting a couple, so we'll see that again this year. But those are basically the numbers for 2025.
Now, I was gonna ask, this is both owner occupied and rental, right?
Correct.
The code enforcement?
This is all code.
Where do you see most of our problems with? Are they rentals, or are they owner occupied that we have most code enforcement issues with?
It's probably 60-40. It's not a huge swing where you're seeing 80% rental. It is really, a lot of them are owner occupied.
Well, 33% repeat is pretty good.
That's-
I mean,
that's-
67% means
Yeah.
you fixed the problem the first time.
Yeah, so which was good. I said, so that number, if you look at the previous years, going back to 2019, has always been around 50%. So this 2025 was a good year for, basically, we warned you once and it didn't happen again, so that was good.
Yeah.
Any other questions on
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy. Okay, we'll go to item 5, short-term rentals.
So Mayor, on that issue, when this was discussed at the last meeting, there was a change suggested to section .090 about having a community development director or a person designated by the city manager. I don't know if there are other changes now that council's had some time to review this a bit more thoroughly, if there are other changes before we start the wheels in motion to get this adopted.
Anyone have any changes that you wanted to see?
I did. I feel
No?
solid.
You feel good?
I like it.
My only questionable one were the fees. And that's just the fee schedule for it. I looked up our current ordinance on a regular rental, and it's $25 per or 20 per unit if it's a multi-unit building. So I don't know, $100 a year for a short-term rental seemed a little high for me compared to like the couple years for a regular rental property for a lot lower.
If I may suggest
Yes.
to council, a regular rental property ideally has tenants in there for at least a year at a time, if
That's
not
true.
more. And under the rental registration program, if the property passes the inspection, it can get a 3-year license. I think short-term rentals might generate more problems for city administration and police department, so that the higher fees are warranted. And they also do require, an inspection beforehand, and possible inspections if there are complaints.
If you guys are,
I agree, it carries a inherent higher risk.
so if there are no other changes, we can put it up for vote, I think, at our next.
Well, we need to remember, these are allowed in areas that are zoned to allow them, so on a parallel track, we need to, update the zoning ordinance. So let me think through whether or not we do it all at once, or we do this first in anticipation of the zoning change.
I'll put a note on here. For zoning changes. Anything else on short-term rentals? Now we'll go to 6, which is e-bikes.
Mayor, if I may?
Yes,
I did share with council, oddly enough, our Secretary of State, Alexis Julius, announced a program on Friday, trying to address the problems e-bikes and other micro-mobility devices are presenting. I haven't seen any draft legislation yet. This is just kind of an education campaign, I think, on his part, but at least it's an acknowledgement by Springfield that there's a real gap in legislation on these matters. So hopefully we'll be getting some assistance from Springfield very soon to address some of these problems. I did not update our ordinances on this yet, but that will be work in progress and look to have something for the March County.
So I think we'll keep it short and sweet on the e-bikes and scooters, but this tool is, I think, helpful to see the picture. So low-speed electric bicycles and low-speed electric scooters are regulated by the state. High-speed bicycles, e-motorcycles, electric unicycles, electric skateboards, and high-speed electric scooters have 0 regulation. Our current ordinances, for those in the crowd that are not here, do not allow any of them. And so we were looking at trying to modify our ordinances to allow the low-speed e-bikes. possibly the electric scooter, the low-speed electric scooters, depending upon or relying on the regulations that are out there per state law. But there's still a lot of vehicles that are not, are unregulated by the state, and they're growing in popularity, so we want to make sure we're staying up to date with that and trying to make those work. So again, I know low-speed bikes are everywhere, so.
And I don't have an issue with the low-speed e-bikes, because no different from them than a regular
No.
10, 12-speed bicycle. Those high-speed electric, they go over 50 miles an hour. It seems a little dangerous. And the one I really have a problem is with that unicycle, that electric unicycle. We see a couple of them around town. I saw one going up North Bloomington Street at 10:30 at night, up by McDonald's, and that's just an accident waiting to happen.
Do you have a headlight on?
Maybe he
guessing
had
no.
one of those ones you put over your hat, but besides that. He didn't have blinkers either. But yeah, that's something we need to look at.
So it's more to come on that, but there are rules as far as age and,
Registration.
right, and who can use them and where they can ride.
All you need, tear an ACL or something.
So we'll modify that. I did get
Whatever we
a,
do decide, we need to be, try not to be too convoluted with it.
no, I agree.
Let's try to just, sort of keep it simple.
And I did get, I don't know, we probably don't count, but former Councilman Brozak gave me an article from Naperville that e-bikes, e-scooters, they made parents liable for fines if their kids are out messing around. But I would guess that's a home rule versus non-home rule.
It's hard to enforce that here,
Yeah.
extremely.
So I can give a copy of this one to you, but this was on a present from Ed on my desk.
Always good to hear from a former president.
Yeah. Okay. All right, anything else on that? So we'll keep looking into the rules on the e-bikes and e-scooters. Okay, we'll go into number 7, which is non-highway vehicles. And we do have a draft ordinance that we can begin to review. It's on the front page of this section. So it just starts, I'll go through some of the highlights and make sure we're not completely off base of what we discussed last time, if that's okay.
Right, and I tried to highlight either things I wanted to bring to council's attention that's already in state law, or areas where I need further guidance from council.
Okay. So these are allowed per Illinois Vehicle Code as long as the city passes an ordinance allowing them. Non-highway vehicles include all-terrain vehicles, off-highway vehicles, and golf carts. They cannot be operated on a street of more than 35 miles per hour, or the speed limit is more than 35, which would include Route 23 and 18. So those are not allowed other than crossing at crossing at an intersection. Let's see, I'll go to page 2. It goes through the descriptions of what is considered a golf cart, what is considered a non-highway vehicle.
And so, just
And
for
special
council-
event, we did talk about special events.
Right, for councils, just to share my thinking on it,
Mhm.
I included all the vehicles that can be considered non-highway vehicles, because I anticipate in the future, we might be updating this section of the city code, so I'm kind of planning for the future.
Sure.
But the way this is drafted right now, it only talks about allowing golf carts to be operated in the streets, which is my understanding of council's direction.
All-terrain vehicles four-wheelers, those kind of things are still prohibited.
Correct, correct. Now, there is an exception under state law, and I've highlighted that, except for equipment such as lawnmowers. Apparently, there's
Yeah.
all-terrain vehicles that qualify as lawnmowers, and recreational off-highway vehicles that qualify for lawnmowers. So this ordinance would not apply to those vehicles used for lawn mowing purposes, because that is a carve-out within the state law itself.
Again, per vehicle code, drivers need to be properly licensed, so you must have a valid driver's license. It mentions the speed limit of 35 hours, or 35 miles per hour again. Need to follow traffic rules. Crossing a state highway at a four-way stop sign, or, again, you can't be on them, but you can cross.
Correct. Mandatory insurance. Yes. So that is required for all these vehicles as well, and that is not just city code, that is state law.
Now, would it be complicating things if we add other places they're not allowed? Because I know the state highways, 18, 23, but I'm looking at some of the arterial routes in town, like 12th Street, Otter Creek Street. Cars go pretty fast up those streets, and I don't know if having a golf cart on those roads would be safe. I'm thinking more, keep the golf.
The speed limit is 25, then yes, I think we should designate areas where we do not
Yeah.
want them. Where, the gentleman who spoke during public comment, he mentioned some of the towns that I actually represent. And so some of them they're much smaller towns, but these are easier to manage. I think in cities such as Streator, we should try and keep them limited to residential areas.
Right.
You know, we don't want people taking, if you're in Grand Ridge and you take your golf cart to the post office, it's not really a problem. If you're in the city of Streator, taking your golf cart to the post
trunk route.
office, that could be a real problem.
Trunk route would be an issue.
You know, so, yes, I would really appreciate guidance from council on where we want to restrict. That would be great, and I think that's very good.
If you look at the example from Rochelle, they have 9 different roads that you cannot use them on.
Okay.
And some are, I think it's funny, they included I-88 and I-39. But, those are 2 of those, but they do list 20th Street, Stewart Road,
And-
so different roads that you cannot operate within.
Yeah, and, you know, like Councilman Shire said, we want to keep it simple. We don't want to start adding this, because then the police would be confused when they see one. They're going to have to get a flip book out to figure out, okay, are they on a allowable street? We want to make it the
Simple.
obvious
Make it
streets.
easy, yeah.
You know, the arterial, like Illinois Street is kind of in the interior of the town, but it's also an arterial street because it's a main road. I don't know if you'd want to include something like that.
How about for next meeting, maybe we can get one of the maps of the city and maybe just highlight what
I'm
you
sure if we
think.
got down to it, there probably ain't much more than
3 or
Again,
4.
10
Yeah,
streets
there's
that
not
we can
gonna
come
be
up with that.
And we had
You could
3.
ask the police chief and the community development director to email suggestions to me, and I can start putting that in the ordinance. That would be helpful to council, I think.
And I know we had
Chief
3
Burke, I have some
people.
input in that as well.
Oh, yeah, Chief Burke. Didn't mean to leave you out, Chief.
We had 3 people speak in the public comments, and that was long before we had our discussions. I was wondering if we could hear from them, if they kind of agree with what we're talking about, or are you against what we're talking about, now that you heard what's actually in the ordinance. Dad?
Just takes a little
I'm
bit.
sorry, that's your turn.
Yeah, what are you doing? Here, you want the gavel? No. Go ahead.
Well, it just takes a little common sense for everybody to drive their golf carts and stuff all over Streator, you know, and like me and my wife, we take our dogs all over. And when you see somebody come along with a car, you know, respect them. That's what you have to do, is respect them. Pull over, let them go around you. You know, and that's what we gotta teach these people with their golf carts. You know, it doesn't matter what road you're on, respect the other drivers. You see somebody at a stop sign, let them go first. They're the ones with the regular license. So respect them, let them go. You know, and that's what I try to do when I'm in the golf cart. My wife does too. You know, and that's what, you know, we need to teach these other people with the golf carts.
You can't
If we
teach
can
common
do-
sense that.
If we can do
You can't
that
teach
with these
common
other
sense.
people with the golf carts, then we wouldn't have this.
It's not the golf
know,
carts.
It's the people driving them.
It's the
Exactly.
young kids that are
So-
flying down the roads, and they're ruining it for people like you and I, and
Apply the
these
same
people.
principle that you're talking about with E, make the parents responsible.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's
Yes,
not
exactly.
hard. I know if my kid was
Yeah.
doing something like that, I would be pretty upset if I caught him driving
Yeah.
through a yard,
Yeah.
doing 90 miles an hour down this
Exactly.
street.
And that's the
It's
problem,
it's
it's the
never the
parents
vehicle,
that
the
don't
vehicle
care.
doesn't have a brain.
So it ain't gonna matter what road you guys say you can go on or
But
can't go
it's the
on.
type of vehicle. Golf carts aren't gonna go zipping through.
No.
Well,
No.
they actually could.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
have statistics on this. Golf carts aren't golf carts anymore. Side-by-sides aren't my side-by-side will do 110 miles an hour.
Holy
It is
cow.
bigger than a Jeep. They're not the same anymore.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
think, and you're also talking to someone whose brother was killed on a motorcycle. I've also been in a motorcycle accident, I've been in a side-by-side accident. I can exponentially tell you, I would rather be in a side-by-side than on a motorcycle on 23, on 18, on Otterkirk Street. Watch a video of a motorcycle accident compared to a side-by-side accident. There's roll cages, there's harnesses. On a motorcycle, you just get tossed.
Yeah.
Safety isn't the concern in this. If you've ever looked at any safety statistics on motorcycles versus side-by-sides, you will throw it out the window because they don't apply. It's not the same.
And the thing about a side-by-side is, as Nick said, they're fully equipped to perform just like a motor vehicle with both safety. There's tons of companies out there that you can easily retrofit them to have full signals, lighting, horn. And I totally 100% agree on the mandatory insurance side of things.
Absolutely.
And yeah, just treat it like a regular motor vehicle. It's just, and I also agree, we vacation in northern Wisconsin, and they have maps that are available for free everywhere that show specific routes, and they have the roads that you can't ride on as well. So, yeah, I mean, it just, if you put together everybody who is for this, I think they would help in, making something everybody's happy with.
I think right now, though, we're talking about golf carts only, aren't we?
I mean, as a start, sure. But
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody's interested in
So-
just golf carts. Like,
Pontiac started with golf carts and they just expanded into like side-by-sides.
right, I mean, you're.
And they had 170 golf carts was what their article had, and basically said we have relatively few issues with those that are registered through the city and have the equipment, like I said, we talked about this last time, that the people that are gonna follow the rules and come in and get your permit and have turn signals and brake lights and all of the things that you need are probably not the ones that we have to worry about.
You talk about-
Respectfully,
Not on sidewalks.
Same as you wait
I did,
patiently.
no, just respectfully, my concern is safety.
I would have a problem.
I
I get that, yeah.
I don't need them here, and I've had experience with golf carts at campgrounds and such, but you
For right
mentioned
now- for right
earlier
now.
about
See what they
the
come up
police
with.
officers, about they shouldn't be able to know exactly what they're looking for and what the laws are. And the reason why earlier I had mentioned like the Route 23 Raceway is because, and then, you mentioned Illinois Street as a busy street, arterial street. That is where I personally see all these people zipping around
Yes.
illegally, and the police officers in the cars, and they shouldn't give chase anyway, and we've had kids killed. And I think about young drivers, I think about that young girl, that teenage girl who had the accident over there, where that guy died on that, I don't know if it's 3-wheeler, 4-wheeler. I mean, that's devastating for her for the rest of her life. And there's so many young drivers, there's so many elderly drivers, and
you know, you got your rule followers, and like you talked about common sense, you can't dish it out. And these kids, there's a Section 8 house right by the viaduct. Every day, they're revving up their contraptions. I mean, they make so much noise, they create so much pollution. I mean, in the wintertime, I mean, you get a waft of that. You know how it is in the winter with the breeze. And it's like, there's so much illegal happening that it's really hard for me to think about adding one more vehicle to that, and how is it gonna be policed? I had a beautiful Buick totaled in front of my house. It was only out of the driveway because I was at a Girl Scout thing and had that pulled out of the driveway. No insurance on a car, okay? Totaled, what can I do about it? Nothing. So when you say that you want to include another vehicle, and it's gotta be licensed, it's gotta be insured. I read where other communities make them get stickers. I read what the state laws on it was, and I read other people's ordinances. It's a lot to take in, and there's so many pieces of it, and it's like, I was thinking, you know, because Dave, you had mentioned about like, you know, a certain person, how they just wanted to take it over to their buddy's house. But the thing is, with the mentality in town with select people, is like they see someone on an electric powered golf cart. Well, they got an old gas one, and they're gonna drive it around, and then when you stop them, they're gonna go, oh, I didn't know they had to.
Well, then they have no common sense.
I know, but I want them ticketed.
But that's what they're gonna do, they're gonna ticket it and be towed away.
But here's the thing.
But man,
We
it's
give
not fair for
warnings.
people like us.
I know, but
To not enjoy life because you
We're gonna
have
keep-
irresponsible
But, okay,
people.
Yeah.
but people get around, like we've always got around all our whole life, by foot and a bicycle. We don't always have to get in a car, and I just think adding one more thing is going to be, it's gonna take the city's resources, and I just see safety issues, that's all.
This world is gonna
Sandy,
continue,
thank you
Safety
for your
issues,
opinion.
thank you very much.
this world is gonna continue to evolve. You're right. We didn't always
I'm
walk, we
addressing
didn't-
I'm addressing the
Yeah, so-
council, sir.
Was there anyone that did not have a chance to talk before we move forward?
I would like to add that considering that we have a lot of miscellaneous vehicles out, alternative vehicles that are coming out, that the Streator Police Department should have at least someone with the same type of vehicle being able to chase them, because it's unfair for them to not have chase policies with a regular vehicle for these people.
So the fire department actually has a Polaris Ranger that is at the disposal of the Streator Police Department and any other LaSalle County municipality to use at any time. They have to fill out a piece of paper, sign it, turn it in, and it's available. So it's already there. I had that argument with the previous police chief, and there was already one available. Now, on top of that, if you charge a sticker, they could buy a new one, like after X amount of time. You get 500 people in town, $50 a sticker, doesn't take long to buy yourself a brand new Polaris Ranger, etc.
Addressing the council, I saw that many communities were charging $150 to $200 for the sticker.
I would pay $500.
You pay $40,000 for a side-by-side, it ain't gonna stop me at $250.
Well, we would set a fee for it. We'll have to decide what to do with those. Okay. So more to come. We'll look at roads that we would want to look at.
And then also,
read the-
I did put in the operation for snow removal, so ask council to take a look at that, if you're happy with that. 3 types of registration, annual, special event, seasonal, snow removal, just those. There's all the sections on issuing the permit, how it can be revoked, how it gets appealed if it's revoked. And just so everybody understands again, mandatory insurance is state law, operation limited to licensed drivers is state law. I do need direction from council if you want, this is on page 6, If annual permit vehicles, if you want to limit the hours of operation. Right now I have 7 AM as a start time, but I have a blank line for end time. So could use a little direction from council on that. And then there is an exemption for government entities, so this does not apply to fire department, police department. I suppose if the township, road commissioner has a vehicle, would apply to.
Could we do 7 AM to dusk? That way it's not a definite time, because it gets dark different time
Yeah.
throughout the year. And I know we could have headlights on them, but not
Yeah.
every
Headlights
golf
are
cart.
required when they're operating, so if it does, we should put that in term.
10, page 3, it says prohibited operation, and just how it's worded, it says in the grounds of any park or recreational area, maybe except for Anderson Golf Course.
You know, I thought about
I
Anderson
thought,
Golf Course.
yeah.
I did think about that, but I think that is, like separately designated as
Okay.
a golf course, so I lean towards leaving it out, but I did think about that, Mayor.
Okay. Any questions from council? Okay, we will go to city official comments.
I'd just like to mention, over the weekend, the Streator Public Library had their mini golf outing. It was very successful. We had a lot of businesses sponsored it. We had 18 holes, actually 19 holes that were separately sponsored. We had an overall sponsors. Streator Illinois Credit Union was the main sponsor. And a lot of people came out. They enjoyed the library. It was a good fundraiser. It's fun to go into the library during that mini golf, and you hear a lot of noise and a lot of laughing. And it's just a whole different atmosphere than what you expect at a library. So I want to thank the city of Streator for supporting that. It's a very important fundraiser for the library. So I just want to acknowledge that it was a very successful event. And Sandy is one of the organizers of it. She was on that committee, so.
My daughter had a hole in one.
Great. Was it on 18?
15.
Whoa.
Something right there.
So it was a good time.
Yeah.
15.
Congratulate her for me.
I'll let her know.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman.
But thank the city of Streator for supporting us.
Keep your eyes posted for these agendas that are gonna be coming out as we have our committee of the whole meetings and regular council meetings. We're gonna be talking about these non-highway vehicles again for a few times consistently, so please come back. Please continue voicing your opinions. That's what we need. You know, the council members are representative of you folks. So, you know, I am not going to vote my opinion on this. I am voting the population's opinion on this. So, please, give your input. Please keep coming back. It is very much appreciated. Madam Mayor?
Sure. Just Saturday is the St. Paul's 65th pancake breakfast, so I encourage everybody to go. One of the favorites. And speaking of the library, I read someone said, keep posting these videos and this is gonna be the cool place to be. So I'm enjoying your social media, and Nate's,
I'll pass that on.
yeah, he was fun. And I think the comment was, we aren't the cool place, like, what do you mean?
I
So
was surprised to hear they weren't.
yeah, they were not. So it's definitely not the same place I grew up with where you had to whisper and you were in trouble for making noise. So, anything from any other city officials?
EJ?
Honorary official back there.
I put in your mailbox the
going to be a Mayor's Association dinner. It's January 26th.
February 26th.
February, I'm sorry. So if anybody's going, I'll need to make reservations.
Then I'll request a motion and second to adjourn to closed session for the purpose of discussion of legal matters under 5 ILCS 120/2, Item 1 of the Illinois compiled statutes.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Geary with the motion and Mr. Reed with the second. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Danko?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Shire?
Aye.
Mayor Beat, aye.
Aye.
You did say it was for personnel, didn't you, Mayor?
Legal.
She said.
I went through the legal matters under this, but personnel,
Yeah, as noted on.
as noted for personnel. For the purpose of discussing personnel issues.